Welcome to the Colorado Amateur Radio Emergency Service VHF net. This is K1DDN, Amanda in Canyon City, representing Regions 4 and 5. I'll be your net control for this session of the Colorado ARES net. Do we have any emergency or priority traffic? This is a direct net for coordination of Colorado ARES districts and to provide a forum for announcements of interest to ARES communities. Please use the following techniques when participating in this net. Use a transmit tone of 88.5 Hertz. Optionally, you can also decode a receive tone of 123.0 Hertz if your transceiver supports split tone operation. Key your transmitter and wait 2 seconds before speaking so you can be heard on all the system's repeaters. Do not use the technique of keying up and saying this is or good evening and unkeying before giving call sign information, as this causes problems with system linking. Please allow the repeater to drop completely between transmissions to prevent timeouts, and also use plain English, standard ITU phonetics, and no Q signals, please. Backup net frequencies are the Rocky Mountain Radio League's 146.940 negative offset with a 103.5 Hertz tone, or the Pikes Peak FM Association's 146.970 negative offset with a 100 Hertz tone. I'll now call on section management. Please indicate if you have business for the net. Let's go to section manager Jack Chiacha, WM0G. Section Emergency Coordinator Robert Rarum, N0ESQ.
Good evening to the net. This is N0ESQ with traffic.
Thank you, Robert. Assistant Section Emergency Coordinators and Section Liaison Officers.
Good evening. This is Whiskey Sierra Romeo Delta Romeo Randy in Castle Rock. Skyward National Weather Service Liaison and Region 1 EC. No traffic.
Whiskey Alpha Zero Delta Sierra. David, Red Cross Liaison, no traffic.
Kilo Echo Zero, Kilo Foxtrot Bravo. Hal, Section Hospital Liaison. No traffic.
Okay, we have W0RDR, WA0DS, KE0KFB. Let's go to Regional Emergency Coordinators.
W0OJ, Cell Region 6-7.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Juliet Bravo, John, Region 1, Deputy EC.
All right, we have W0OJ and KF0JB. Any other stations with business for the net, please call now.
WB0YKO, Mike, R5D2EC.
WB0YKO, I have you with business. This is K1DDN. I will now take check-ins from emergency coordinators, their designated representatives, or ARRL officials that do not have business for the net. Please give call sign, name, title, and district. Let's start with ECs or designated representatives from Region 1.
This is Kilo Alpha Zero Bravo Sierra Alpha, K0BSA, George, R1D3, no traffic.
D4.
KD5DKQ, Mark, EC, R1, D2.
Kilo 0, Lima Alpha India, K0 LAI. Larry Lakewood, R1D6, AEC. No traffic.
Kilo.
KD0 UFO, Mike, R1D2 AEC.
Alright, I have KA0BSA, KD5DJQ, K0LAI, and KD0 UFO, but there was also a couple of doubles in there, so try it again.
This is Whiskey 7 Zulu Charlie Oscar, W7ZCO, Dick, R1, D4.
Kilo Delta 0, Lima Delta Romeo, Jeff, R1, D1, EC.
Okay, got you, W7ZCO and KD0LDR. Anyone else from Region 1, ECs or designated representatives? Alright, let's move on. Any ECs or designated representatives for Region 2?
This is John, EC for Region 2, District 2, Kilo Delta 0, Sierra Foxtrot Yankee.
KD0 MRC, Jim, R2, D1, EC.
KD0SFY and KD0MRC. Let's move on to Regions 3, 4, and 5. ECs are designated representatives.
This is Kilo Echo 0, Bravo Yankee Quebec, Chris, R5, D2, AEC.
Good evening. Here is Kilo 0, Juliet Echo Foxtrot, Jeff, AEC, Region 3, District 2.
Alright, NET acknowledges KE0BYQ and K0JES. Let's move on to ECs or designated representatives for Regions 6, 7, 8, and 9, San Luis Valley, Southwest, West, and Northwest.
N0KM, Dave, R6D1.
N0OAY, Cliff, Region 9, District 6, EC.
We have N0KM and N0OAY. Any additional ARRL officials, please call now. This is K1DDN, your net control for Colorado ARES net. Let's go back to business. N0ESQ, Go ahead, Robert.
Well, we had an interesting week this week. We had red flag warnings due to fires, and we had blizzards on the eastern plains. And there were amateur radio operators involved in both. We were put on standby for the search and rescue operation with the blizzard that hit late on Friday evening. But fortunately, they were able to locate people, and by morning time and daylight, things had calmed down and they had shut down the shelters that they had there. That was up in the northeast region, primarily around Fort Morgan and points east from there. Fire hazard seems to come and go. High winds. We're going to have a warm day tomorrow with some winds again, so we've all got to be prepared for that. I'll let Amanda talk about their situation down there, but they did have a fire there, but I was monitoring it on MAC 10, and they were using lifeguard to direct the engines, and I think they really got out in front of that thing and were able to get it knocked down. Reset. We had a good meeting of the North Central region ECs, and one of the things that I had tasked Hal Jennings with, who's a member of R1D5, is trying to bring our hospital situation up to date. The hospitals have been approached by both the state and federal authorities wanting to be sure that they have a communications disaster plan that incorporates amateur radio. And so about a month ago, I asked Hal Jennings to he'd been working with the Centura Health facilities in Douglas County, and I asked him to take on a larger role and sort of coordinate that. And then in the process of doing that, he became aware that the hospitals really work very closely with CDPHE, the Department of Public Health and Environment. And Emmett had sort of been covering that since Dan Nye moved up to Rio Blanco County. So the decision was made on Saturday that we would ask Hal Jennings to step up and serve as the section liaison to CDPHE and to ESF 8 facilities. ESF 8 facilities are public health medical facilities. So he's going to act as the sort of clearinghouse, the liaison on a section-wide basis. He's going to rely very heavily on the local people, so he should be your point of contact. And you should keep him involved as you're talking to your local hospitals there to determine their communications preparedness. But I appreciate Hal being willing to step up and serve as the section liaison to CDPHE and ESF 8 facilities. And we're looking forward to having an exercise just with those facilities later in the year. Reset. We're having our second meeting with our new leadership down at State OEM in the morning at 7 a.m. We'll be meeting with Corey Stark and with Sean Settles. This is a regular meeting that we're doing on the first and third Mondays of every month, just so that we can keep things moving and make sure that we're improving the lines of communication. But I think we're already seeing an improvement in the environment that we're working in down there. So we'll keep you posted on that and any developments that come out of that. Are there any questions or comments for N0ESQ?
Robert, I do have some questions about our activities with the hospitals. I don't know if you want me to go with Hal on those questions or with you.
Well, for the good of the order, why don't you tell me what the questions are, and then I'll decide.
Very good. Well, my question is, what is the timeline of making a relationship with the hospitals in your local area? Also, what kind of communications are you trying to get into the hospitals? And is there, lack of a better thought, is there some kind of format that we should be following of who we should be talking to at our hospitals?
Okay, that's what we refer to as a compound question. Many questions involved there. First of all, if you don't already have a relationship with your hospital, why don't you then coordinate with Hal first and see if you can set up a conference call or a Skype video or a Zoom or something like that. He kind of knows who he's been talking to, and I assume some of the hospitals are probably parts of the other chains here. So let's rely on his experience there in deciding how to approach those. Reset, and I'll answer the second half of the question. In terms of what we're looking at, we have to recognize that when we're approached by like hospitals and the like, they don't necessarily know much about what radio is or radio communications is or what we do. And we have a tendency to sort of focus on amateur radio. But we can be of much greater value to these partners if we come in more of a consultative role with our overall understanding of communications. So I have tasked Hal with approaching this from a standpoint of what are their communications capabilities and what could we do to enhance those. And that would be obviously including amateur radio, but it might also be including some of the UHF med frequencies if they have those capabilities. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. For example, if they got a base station that will work on one of the med channels to talk to another hospital. So it's really, I think the first step is to take an inventory of what their capabilities are, right down to their business band channels that they may use for their security or maintenance. Let's look at the overall picture and not look at just the narrow, okay, can we set up a ham radio and talk out of there? The other thing I think we need to revisit and look at is a decision was made with some of the hospitals to install new Kenwood D710s. Well, that's a wonderful radio. It's also one of the most difficult radios to operate or program. And this is a place where we're sending people in to operate. So I want us to approach this from a standpoint, A, hospitals are stationary. We know what repeaters they can reach, and we know what repeaters they're going to need to talk on, or potentially simplex. Would it be better for us to spec out a DMR-type radio that could be clearly labeled for voice communications, and then if we needed packet or something like that, we would send someone with those specialized capabilities and skills down there. So that's what I'm looking for, is I'm looking for us to move into this in a consultative overall communications role as auxiliary communicators, not just as ham radio operators. And then as for the standard format, I think that sort of piggybacks on the first question you had, Amanda, and maybe what we should do with the region people. We'd already talked about doing this on another topic. I think it would be good for us to maybe have a Zoom video conference call with all the region ECs and with Hal. We need to have a one with all the region ECs. We're creating a capabilities and qualifications database. And one of the things that came up during the discussion with the North Central region ECs, for example, I have a Cantronics KVC 3 Plus in my Podcom unit, but I don't know how to use it. It's just something I'm not proficient in, but I have the equipment capabilities. So we're going to start typing equipment, but then we also need to identify the capabilities of the people involved with them. So that's a conference call we also need to have. Does that partially answer your questions, Amanda?
You compounded them into a great answer. Yes, Robert, thank you very much. That's very helpful. And I really look forward to a regional. So, anybody else have any questions for Robert before we move on?
WGRDR with a comment.
Go ahead, Randy.
The 710 was chosen locally because two of the hospitals involved requested packet operations, and that was the easiest way to do it without getting involved in a whole bunch of other equipment. The other side of that is I'm kind of spearheading this capabilities and typing project. It's been something that's been in progress in North Central Region for over 5 years, and there has been very little progress on it, and we're going to make some progress one way or another. So I will be sending out an invite to all the region all the region ECs to have a conference call and get involved in it, and that'll happen in the next week or so. WCRD here.
KE0KFB.
FB, go ahead.
Hey, this is KE0KFB, the newly minted hospital liaison. I've been drinking from a fire hose for the last month and starting to work with the Colorado Health Association and Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment just to get to the a framework together, a strategy that we can provide to kind of facilitate the ARES districts and hospitals getting together to help them meet the communication, state and federal communication requirements that they now have for redundant communication. So it's starting to come together, and I'll have the answers to a lot of the questions you asked here in the near future.
W0OJ with a comment.
Okay, first, Hal, thank you for that info. I appreciate it, and my comment is I would love to see the same equipment go to every hospital so everyone could transfer hospitals with no problem and they'd be used to the equipment. That's my 2 cents. W0OJ, go ahead.
Thank you, Net Control, W0OJ. I am wondering if I understood that correctly. If our outreach is to public service, public health people rather, at the hospitals, I think it's the wrong department. It seems to me that based on my experience, it should be emergency services at each of the hospitals. And I'm wondering, Robert, if you could comment on that. W0OJ, back to you.
Yeah, W0OJ, you're misunderstanding. The Colorado, it happens to be that the hospitals fall under the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. And I recognize it isn't a particularly good name, but that's the name of the State Department that manages and coordinates and does everything with the hospitals. Who we work with inside the hospitals is entirely different. No, it's not the public health people. So that's why I said he is the liaison to CDPHE and ESF8, which is the medical providers. So, yeah, you're getting it wrong. So that's, we're working with Colorado Department of Health and Environment, Department of Health, Public Health and Environment, because that's their name. But we're also working with, the medical providers, which, in some cases is emergency, but in other cases, it's admissions and overall capabilities. So it's not, the emergency room would be overwhelmed in minutes with a major disaster. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you for the clarification, and it might be something that would be good to talk about off air at some point in the future. Thank you very much. W0OJ.
All right, one more time. Any other questions or comments about this subject before we move on?
This is the...
All right, thanks for the content there. This is K1DDN. Let's go to our Colorado ARES HF report. K0BAN, Phil, go ahead.
K1DDN, this is K0BAN. Good evening to the net. I'll start out with the single sideband net report at 8 a.m. this morning. Net control was W0OJW. He had 22 check-ins and lasted for 13 minutes. And there was a small report on Thursday's double fork fire in Boone. Okay, and I'll continue with John, digital report, FSK Digital. He had 3 check-ins, N6VTS was there, and the net control was N0KM and WB5PJB. Time lasted for 32 minutes, exercise was round robin, and message was traffic pass via airmail in Pactor mode. I'll reset for weather.
Actually, Philip, can I interrupt you for a second?
Go ahead, ma'am.
We got so detailed about the other traffic that I forgot that we had another station with traffic, so stand by and I'll come back to you. Mike, WB0YKO, I am so sorry. Go ahead with your business for tonight.
Thank you, Amanda. It'll be quick. Good evening to everyone on the net. On Thursday, April 12th at approximately 1600 hours, the Pueblo County EOC was activated for the double fork fire, which was burning west of Pueblo in the vicinity of the little town of Boone. In approximately 15 minutes, the ARES R5D2 Operations Center was up and running, and we began working with the American Red Cross Pueblo chapter. They had an estimated 400 evacuees, and they established an evac center. Fortunately, due to valiant efforts of the firefighters, 60% of the fire was contained by 1945. There was no longer a need for the evacuation center. They were being allowed to return, and there was never a shelter that was established. That's basically it, Amanda. WB0YKO, back to net.
Thank you so much, Mike. And this being part of my region, I would really like to say thank you to everybody that just jumped in, got into gear, and went in ready to go. So quick response, and I think that's the way it's going to be right now. Colorado wildfire weather is not looking good, but thank you so much. All right, let's go back to Phil up there. K0BAN, go ahead and continue with your weather report.
K1DDN is K0BAN. And the net, I'll start out with the 2-meter check-ins. We had 24. The high in the state was at Mac at 68 degrees. The low was in Aspen Springs at 16, and they had trace over there. The most snow we had on the eastern slope is 4 inches in Akron. And 75 meters had 22 check-ins. And that was the 75 meters had 20 check-ins. The high in the state over there was 68, and Akron had 4 inches on the ground. That's it. All I have for weather nets. So K1DDN is K0BAN. Good evening, all.
K0BAN, thank you so much. All right, this is K1DDN. Let's go to Roy, WA0SJQ, for the Colorado Road Report.
K1DDN and the net, WA0SJQ. Weather as of 2029 local, short and sweet. We do have some wet areas in the high country. Other areas are reporting clear and dry. The only truly adverse condition we have is high winds reported southwestern Colorado on Mancos Hill. This is WA0SJQ.
All right, thanks, Roy. I got you on the list, and I got Philip on the list as well. All right, let's move on. I will now take check-ins from all stations listening. Let's start. Call sign suffixes Alpha through India. Please come now.
Kilo Delta 0, Delta Uniform Juliet, Chris in Denver, R1D4.
Kilo 5, Bravo Bravo Charlie, K5, BBC Phil, R3D2.
Kilo India
0 Echo Papa, KI 0 EP, Allen, R1D2.
This is the Colorado Connection.
Alright, I have KD0DUJ, K5BBC, KI0EP, and there was a double in there. Try it again.
This is Whiskey 9, Charlie Echo, W9CE, Jeff, R1D4.
Okay, I have W9CE. Let's go. Call sign suffixes Juliet through Romeo.
This is Whiskey 0, Oscar Juliet Whiskey, Dan, R5D2.
J.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Papa Juliet Bravo, WB5PJB, Gary, Region 1, District 5.
Kilo Echo 0, Kilo Yankee Bravo, KE0 KYB, Walt, R2D2.
Kilo Echo 0, Mike Oscar Quebec, Chris, R5D2, K0 MOQ.
Okay, we have W0OJW, N0PKT, WB5PJB, KE0KYB, and KE0MOQ. Let's go. Call sign suffixes Sierra through Zulu.
This is Kilo 0, Whiskey Sierra Uniform, Paul, Region 1, District 6.
Okay, I have K0WSU. Let's open it up. Alpha through Zulu.
This is Kilo Alpha 0, Victor Bravo Alpha, R1D6.
Alright, I got KA0VBA. This is K1DDN Net Control for the Colorado ARES Net. Are there any stations with additional business or comments for the net? Stations with appropriate band privileges are encouraged to participate in the following Colorado ARES nets. The HF single sideband net on 3810 MHz lower sideband at 8 a.m. every Sunday. The HF digital net on 3590 MHz mark RTTY at 7:30 on the first, third, and fifth Sundays, and that's 7:30 a.m. The HF sound card net on 3590 MHz at 8:30 a.m. on the second and fourth Sundays. The HF CW net on 3570 MHz at 7:30 a.m. on the second and fourth Sundays. The 2-meter single sideband net at 1900 hours every Monday on 144.220 MHz upper sideband. Are there any late check-ins?
Kilo Echo Zero, Papa Sierra Romeo, R5D1, John.
Okay, I have KE0PSR. Thank you everyone for participating in the Colorado Areas VHF net. I show 34 check-ins. This net is now closed at 20:35 with our thanks to the Colorado Connection for the use of their repeater system. Following the net, please allow the repeater's carrier to drop completely and wait 30 seconds to allow time for all repeaters to disconnect before continuing with after-net conversations. 73 everyone, this is K1DDN.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.